Hello, in this JavaScript video, I am going to show you promises. So promises are a really cool thing in ES6, and they essentially allow you to take care of asynchronous programming. Generally, JavaScript is single-threaded. So if I type a line here, then type another line here, and another line here, the space doesn't actually really matter. I mean, the empty line doesn't matter. You'll execute this line, this line, this line, this line. Just one after another. But if you're doing something asynchronous, such as Ajax, when you're interacting with a server or other servers or other files, code may not fully execute, or a bit of the code fast enough for the next code to be executed afterwards. So you might actually get some sync issues. So to handle that, you can use stuff like callbacks and promises. Promises are the new way of doing things. So I'm just going to use a very simple example, but the logic applies whether you're using Ajax, something else asynchronous, loading images, but we're just going to create a method to demonstrate it using divide. So I'm going to create a function called divide, and in here you'll take two numbers, num1, num2, and we're going to do var promise. So you need to create a promise and put it new promise. So this is a promise object, and this will be a function in itself, and you'll take two parameters, resolve and reject. So resolve will be sent back if it's successful, reject if it isn't successful. In here we are simply going to say if num2 does not equal 0, then we know that it can be done, it can be computed. So we're going to say resolve num1 / num2, and now we'll just say else reject. There's a couple of different ways to do this. You can either just put a quotation mark here, and you could also do that in here instead of calculating something if you're just basically returning a message back saying it works. But you could even say no zeros allowed or something along those lines, or you could enclose this in an error as you can in other stuff in JavaScript as well. This just provides you with a full stack trace. I'm just going to keep it simple and have no error, but I just wanted to let you know about that. Okay, last thing, you just need to return the promise. So if we run this won't actually display anything in the console or do anything yet, because we need to actually call it. To call it, we do divide, so the name of the function, passes some parameters, so let's pass it 5 and 0. We do dot then, and you could have this all on the same line. I'm just separating it. We're going to have quite a few lines of code here, just make it a little neater, and just have a few extra lines as well. So this is roughly in the middle, and open parentheses, and in here you do function, and this is going to be called result. So this is if it's been successful. So the first function is if it's successful, and if it's successful, we're just going to say console.log, and we'll log out the result. And naturally you can do other stuff here as well. That's totally up to you, but we're not going to. So now we're going to say comma, and now we're going to do function, and this is going to handle the error, so call it error, it doesn't really matter. And in here we're going to say console.log error and semicolon, and now if we run it, we get no zeros allowed. If we replace this with a 2, for example, we should get a result of 2.5. Okay, so now let me show you where these promises really come into play. So if here I were to call another promise, it could be the same one or it could be a different one. I'm just going to call the same one, and I could just do, let's say, return divide, and I'm going to say 6,7, and then I need to handle essentially this again, and I do that by putting dot then. It's basically literally the exact same as this, put that there, but I'm not going to do another return, therefore I won't be calling another promise. And I'm overall all happy with that. Yeah, so if we run this, is what we get. We get 2.5 and 0.857. Let's say what if we get 5 and 0? We get no zeros allowed and undefined. So if we want to check if we want to make sure that this is only run afterwards and only if it is successful, we can do it like so. Instead of doing a bunch of complex if and else if statements, if we're running a lot of lines of code. Common example of this is if you're loading images, but you don't know which one's gonna load first, but you generally only want to use, let's say, the next one or load the next one if the previous one has loaded. You can do it like so. And that's it. That's what promise is. This is the general format. You can go pretty crazy with it. I'm going to provide a link that will give you all of the different little facets and features that promises in JavaScript provides. If you have any questions, because it's quite a complex topic, feel free to pop me a message, and I look forward to seeing you in the next programming video.